I'm Darren.
I'm Derek.
And this is the Double D Podcast.
I almost forgot to say that. And this is the Double D Podcast. I almost just let you say it on accident. Well, we've only been doing this for a year and a half. I don't know how I would have forgot that.
Well, you forgot your own phone number before this.
I did.
Interview we had.
Man, listen, I'm going
so,
there's a lot going on in my life right now, and so I'm scatterbrained. I feel like I'm pregnant. I'm not, but I feel like I'm pregnant.
Anyway, we had a very pleasant interview with Denim Blevins again.
We did. I'm very excited for this interview because we got to break down the card for July 23rd, Hill Mayhem in Hill, Indiana, at the Hill Fire Department. So I was very excited. We got to talk a little bit about the show before that happened in Moore, Ohio. I remember that.
Yeah.
In Moore, Ohio. And we got to talk about, like I said, the card. We got to break down each match, talk a little bit about that. And I was happy with the interview. Feel like it went pretty well. I'm hoping that if you guys who are going to the event will get to be a little bit more excited about different matches that take place there and get to, just really pump yourself up for this. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, don't forget to bring your weapons too, guys.
Bring your weapons.
That's very important.
Yeah, go Hooks.
Yes, go Hooks.
We will be there. We will have a table set up. Make sure you come over and you say hi. We have a suggestion box. You can leave a suggestion in.
We have
free pens.
Double D Podcast pens.
Yes, you can use those. And, just come over and say hi at the very least. We're friendly people and we like to get not only our name out there, but we also just like to meet people. Anybody who wants to come over, and even if it's like I said, even if you don't like the podcast, or if you don't have a suggestion, just make sure you come over and say hi. We can talk about whatever. Wrestling, whether it's wrestling related or not. If you watched other episodes, you can talk to us about that as well. So very excited for this interview. We're not going to waste any time. We're just going to get straight to it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notifications when we upload. You can follow me on Twitter, DJDub00. On Instagram, _D_podcast, or TikTok, the Double D Podcast 1.
Or you can email us at doubledpodcast123@gmail.com. Or what's the other one?
Oh my God,
What's the other
it's
one?
your DJ service.
No, because there's.
Oh, we have a
If
Facebook.
you love me.
Oh.
It's Darren. 11345678 9. I fucked that one up. Just add my snap. That was just my snap.
I was confused. I usually hand it to you, but I thought you knew by now.
I've slowly started remembering it.
We also
have a Facebook page.
Yes.
Double D Podcast and Crew. And don't forget my DJ service. Darren's DJ service. 812-212-1675.
All right. Off to the interview. Hey, can you hear us?
I can hear you. How's it going, guys?
Oh, it is going great. Thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely, man. I'm always excited to do it, especially with a big show coming up and everything.
Well, it's a great show. We're definitely looking forward to it. Explain to us though the last show. Just go through that because we did a review on our channel about it, but I'd love to hear your perspective, what you thought about the show, the good, the highs, the lows, whatever, the fans, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. Well, one thing that really stood out to me, and it seemed a lot of people liked it, was we had the power outage.
Yeah.
And the lights went out about halfway through a match featuring Mark Alexander and Red Sawyer, who are both from the East Coast against the debuting Crown. And the wrestlers worked through it, and the fans supported that by putting up their phones as flashlights. And I thought that was like a really cool, organic moment for everybody. And it made an already impressive debut even better for the Crown. I thought that the Malia Hosaka thing kind of frustrated a lot of fans. I think a lot of fans were really more in Shauna Reed's corner or Ari Alexander's corner as opposed to Malia. So I thought that was pretty frustrating, especially with her using the ropes and things like that.
Right.
Obviously, the number one contender match with Brian Coleman and Carson Drake, I think the majority of everybody was going for Brian in that one, and a lot of people want to see the hometown boy get his chance. So I feel like that went how they would want it. I do think, once again, people were probably frustrated with Jaden Jett getting the win against Justin Xavier. I think they were frustrated also with Jake getting a win on Amos. But as a whole, I felt like it was a really good go. It was only our second time in that town, Morrow, so kind of good, like building up a new town for us type deal.
Yeah, it was a really good show. I enjoyed it. And from my point of view, obviously I was a little bit biased towards Russell's group. A little bit biased, so I didn't share that same sentiment about being frustrated. I was like, hey, we had him on. He was a nice guy. I supported him.
Right.
And then the crown, that moment with the crown though, that was an extremely cool moment. I mean, that's stuff you see like on Facebook, Twitter, from other places, and you're like, oh, that would be really cool to be a part of. And it was really cool to be a part of. And that was organic. Did you ever find out what happened with the power? Was it just the weather?
Yeah, it was just the weather. It had been flickering a few times before that, and we ended up being able to get it taken care of. But it wasn't me directly dealing with that. I was really sending other people to deal with it. But yeah, that's what happened. I was actually outside talking to another wrestler and someone else, and I was urgently grabbed by someone and told of the situation. And I came back in, started sending some people to get on it, and got it fixed as soon as we could.
Right. Hey, props to the wrestlers in the ring for keeping the show going. The crowd for making sure we could all see it. They could see what they were doing. It was a good moment, like you said. And then the other thing you mentioned about Leah Osaka winning. I don't know if you watched our review, but I did say I was surprised that she won. I wouldn't say I was upset with the outcome. I was just very surprised, and I think she's going to be a great champion. I said it then, and I say it now. I stand by it.
Yeah, and from that perspective, I have to say that Malia Osaka is probably in the top 2 credentialed women we've had at Battle on the Border. I mean, she's just been at the top of the game for a long time, so I wouldn't really be surprised to see her beat anybody.
Right.
But I would be, frustrated if I was, an advocate of someone else.
Absolutely right. So this next show coming up, it's I think the day we're recording this, it's what, like just a little under 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So
Under 2 weeks away.
Go into that. Like, how did you guys get the? Have you wrestled in more so before? Or is this the first time?
This is going to be the first time. So we've actually got a guy named Scott Petty, who is our new Indiana representative on the board of directors, and he lives out in Mooresville. So he's kind of helping me with coordinating it. But it's a benefit for the fire department, and it's just I would compare it to Morrow, Ohio, where it's kind of going into a new area and testing it out. We've obviously had big success with Aurora and Cleves and Harrison, but testing the outskirts and trying to just help out different people and things like that.
I'm very excited about the show being there because it's very close to where we live and a lot of where my friends live and some of my family. I'm gonna try to get as many people out there as possible, even people who aren't necessarily pro wrestling. You guys are watching. If my family or friends are watching, go to the show.
Along those lines, I can tell you that I dropped off a bunch of posters and flyers there, so if you guys happen to go by there, you're more than welcome to grab a few of them and put them somewhere that you think might be good.
All right, I will do that. Actually, I will.
Yeah, tell them obviously that I sent you. The contact there is a guy named Kevin, but any of them should be able to give you a few. But there's some colored posters and there's some black and white flyers, and anywhere around there because I'm not from there, so I kind of rely on other people a bit as well. But any kind of gas stations or bars or anywhere really.
Oh,
We know the places, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of busy places around here.
Yeah, you can grab a few.
So let's just go from the top, bottom of the card, or if you have an order, or if you just want to talk about whatever match, and then we can just kind of dissect each one as we go. So you can start wherever, like I said, if you have an order, if you don't know the order yet of the card, or if you want to just talk about whatever, we'll just...
Okay. So one match we have here, it kind of goes back to the Night of Champions one back in Cleves. If you guys remember, that Golden Ticket Battle Royal came down to 2 guys, and Rob Conway had legitimately eliminated Sergeant Ledbetter, but that wasn't seen by the referee. Ledbetter did his typical dirty deeds, got back in there, and snuck up and got the win. So we're giving Conway a shot of redemption there with a match against Sergeant Ledbetter. I think that's going to have a lot of the fans involved. Ledbetter's probably one of our more hated people on the roster, I would say, whereas Rob Conway is from Indiana and has a tremendous track record in Battle on the Border, so he usually gets big support, particularly in Indiana.
I did not know he was from Indiana.
I didn't either.
Yeah, he's
That's
from
awesome.
New Albany, so not too far away, and that's one of the reasons he jumped on Battle on the Border back when I debuted in 2016. So he's been a part of it the whole time, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer. He's held the heavyweight championship. He's wrestled in quite a few main events. So I would think that him and Ledbetter will have a big match feel to it.
Absolutely, I'm very excited about it. Now, did you talk to the referee about that? Because that's a big mishap. You can't be. What was he? I mean, did you talk to him? I mean, I know there was a big brawl going on the outside, and he was trying to restore order. But I mean, come on, you've got to be sharper than that.
Right. So there's kind of like different layers of command, and there's a board member kind of in charge of that. So I'm not sure if they were spoken to or reprimanded regarding that or not. But if I remember correctly, they were obviously distracted with 4 guys outside the ring and trying to get them out of there. And I don't remember if I had 2 referees or 3 referees there, but maybe it's a consideration that we should add an additional referee or 2 for those battle royals.
Hey, listen, if you need 1 or 2, we're here. Just letting you know. Just put us through the school. Just give us the shirt and we'll run our way. All right, so what's next on the card there?
Okay, we've also got Big Vito and Super Oprah, known professionally as the Gender Benders, against a team called the Static, which is a male named Sebastian and a female named Samaya. They're debuting from Mega Championship Wrestling up in Cleveland as a tag team. They're students of another guy who used to hold our heavyweight title, a guy named Brandon Xavier. Brandon Xavier's also produced Paxton Calloway and Jackson Stone for us, so he's obviously a good trainer. So we've got these 2 youngsters coming down against Vito and Oprah. I think that's a good match in the tag team division.
Absolutely, I'm very excited. I always like when Super Oprah's there.
Oh yeah, Super Oprah's a hoot.
She what?
Yeah, he was excited.
Yeah, she's something. That's the way to put it. You gotta watch her. She's sneaky too.
So, have you guys had the experience of hanging out with Super Oprah outside of the shows yet? Or I'm guessing no, right?
No.
Okay, so that is in and of itself its own experience. So I would welcome you guys to come to an after party with us at some point. We go, usually after these shows, we're at a particular bar or do something like that. You're welcome to come and join. And Super Oprah is usually one of the more entertaining characters in that atmosphere as well.
Yeah, it absolutely shows. I would consider her the life of the party.
Oh yeah.
I could imagine that.
Yes, and out of the ring, larger than life personality and very interesting.
So, how long have they been wrestling together? Because when we went to that show in December, Vito, I think they may have been fighting each other. Were they facing each other in that?
Yeah, so
Yes.
they're a new developed tag team. They started off as a kind of battle of the dresses deal because they both wanted to be the number 1 person wearing a dress in Battle on the Border, I guess. I really don't know what to make of that. But I guess after they wrestled, they kind of came to have a mutual respect. And at that point, it seemed like they decided to link up. And if you remember, it actually benefited me because I was having that match with Sergeant Ledbetter, and
That's right.
he had some of his Army of Destiny members there with him. They were going to hang out ringside, and Oprah and Vito ran them off for me, so I certainly appreciated that.
That's right. I do remember
sure.
that. Yeah, that's right. Are you So what else is there on the card? I don't want to sound rude when I say that.
I think is a sleeper for being like match of the night, but people probably won't realize that going in. And one guy's name is Matt Taylor, and he's debuting. He's been the champion for several other places in the region. One called FGW in Hamilton, and then one called War up in Lima. And he's been doing it like 17 years or so, but very technical, good high flyer. In shape, can go for a long time. He's going against a guy named Aaron Williams. Aaron Williams goes by the moniker of the baddest man on the planet, so that would tell you a lot about him.
Yeah.
He's been in Battle on the Border for a long time. He's done a lot of main events, but some people think he's like one of the more technically sound people in the game. Period. He's really good with the Muay Thai. He's done martial arts. He's very athletic. So. Great gas tank on him as well. So those 2, Aaron Williams and Matt Taylor, will probably be the match that people think that was the best match in my eyes as far as putting 2 guys that are going to push each other to the limit and that type of deal. But I don't think with our card being as stacked as it is, with as many names as are on it, they're not going to get that attention, but that'll fly under the radar.
Wow, you just made me very excited for the
You
match.
guys don't really know either one of those two guys at this point, do you?
No.
Yeah, well, that'll be what's to watch. So if you remember back in March at the Night of Champions show, we had the triple threat match for the heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
In that match, Congo Kong kind of jumped ship and joined up with Madman Fulton and David Barnabas Spector. He was paid off.
Yeah.
Paxton Calloway to lose. So I think that's going to be a really big match there, literally and figuratively. But we got Paxton Calloway accompanied by fantastic Bobby Fulton against Congo Kong accompanied by David Barnabas Spector.
That I am very excited
That's
about.
going to be a really good match.
Yeah, I didn't know this about you, but you really like the big guys wrestling.
Oh, yeah. They're the most entertaining to me, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Like I said, when they are two just huge physical specimens, it is hard to ignore it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, it really is. That match is going to be wild. See, back when we went in that Cleves show, that match went all over the place.
Yeah.
That match was out and so, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You got to keep your eye on this match, too. You don't want to get caught in the crossfire, too.
I'm just going to be happy I'm able to
Right
go to
now,
this one.
the show is scheduled to be outdoors. We do have an option to pull into the fire station where they keep the trucks if needed, in case of rain or whatever. But right now, it's going to be outside, and I do agree that it's going to be a challenge to some extent to contain those guys.
Yeah. How close do the people park in relation? Because there might be a car or two that get destroyed during this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're still working out the logistics on that, but I would certainly recommend people to park a little bit away from the ring.
Yeah. I'm just happy that I'm finally able to go. I'm not busy.
Oh, that's
This
right.
one
You
time
weren't
I'm
there.
not busy.
That's right.
You're actually
gonna
able
be
to
there.
go there. And this would be a crappy
Here's a
one to
question
miss.
For you guys, who do you think has the better manager for that? Are you better off with a guy like Fantastic Bobby Fulton or a guy like David Barnabas Spector in your corner?
Well, Bobby Fulton is experienced. He's been around, and I think he will do whatever it takes and make sure Paxton Calloway wins. However, Spector, I mean, obviously he has the power of money on his side. Apparently he's able to, and he works 30 too, so he's able to, work shifty. So in my opinion, I would lean that way. I'd rather have him in my corner.
Spector has no integrity. He's probably going to push the limits a little more, whereas Bobby Fulton's a veteran, but he wants to win with some honor. Is that kind of what we're saying?
Right, yep.
Yeah, I totally can see that, but you also wonder, is a guy like Bobby Fulton smart enough, and I would think so, to know going into a match like that you have to adjust your game plan. Like, you can't go in there wanting to play fair against a guy that you know is not going to play fair. You're just asking for it then, right?
Absolutely. And I'm sure he's going to have a trick or two up his own sleeve.
Oh, yeah. You got to.
Okay, so then also on the card here, we have a match in the Zero Gravity tournament, and we have a new guy, and I really don't know much about him, but his name is IPA. I've heard he likes to consume a lot of alcohol.
That's our kind of guy.
A new top student from Lightning Tim Lutz, as I'm sure you guys remember.
Yep.
And he's going to be facing off in that tournament against the Golden State God,
No.
Carson Drake.
Now, see, you're putting me in a tough spot here. We have a guy who likes a lot of beer against Carson Drake, who I don't know what it is about him, but something about. I mean, I know you feel differently, man, but I really like his style. So it's a toss-up for me.
And Carson is another one that likes a lot of beer. Also, you can't deny that with him either.
Well, funny story. When we were at that show in Cleves, my dad went over and bought some merch from him, and Carson Drake said that he was going to buy beer with that money. And then also somehow talked my dad into buying him a beer. My dad did not buy him a beer, but talked him into it. And I think my dad would have done it. He's something else. But yeah.
Carson has a way with that, man. He has caused me issues, and I'm not gonna say what venue before, but one of the ladies at a venue from out on the border was working concessions, and next thing you know, after the show and everyone's gone, I'm getting complaints from her husband, and her husband doesn't want to give her a ride home because she has gotten the number and drank at least a beer with Carson Drake.
Yeah, you see,
Causing problems amongst the workers there. So I had to talk to him about that a little bit. I mean, I really don't appreciate that too much.
Right. I mean, listen. Ladies might like him, but you got to be somewhat. I mean, Carson Drake's not exactly the most He's a little bit rude with that megaphone. He gets in there and he does that laugh and he talks a lot of trash. I mean, he's not exactly. But
it goes back to that he's 21 years old, and you have to see the upside of. I think we all know when he's 25, 30, even 35, he's going to be doing really well. You would think.
oh, absolutely. The sky's the limit with him. I said that in the last when we reviewed the show. I said enjoy him while he's here because I don't know how much longer. He's destined for something really great in his career, I think.
Yeah. As we said before, I've given him the MJF comparisons in that he has that type of personality, has that type of voice. He gets that kind of reaction from the crowd. So I mean, that's a compliment.
Hopefully, he treats you better than MJF treats Tony Khan, though.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, but
no, but I know what you mean.
When you're the owner of a pro wrestling company, you're always going to have people that hate you. So I feel like that happens to me. It happens to Tony Khan. It happens to Vince. It happens to anybody, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
No, that is very true. That is very true. Well, in that matchup, though, I am a toss-up between. I mean, but they both, like you said, they both like. I'll just enjoy the match. Now, we'll talk about that for a second, though, because when I look at Carson Drake, I don't think he's necessarily known as being a high flyer, and he also made a video complaining about the fact that he was in the tournament, then he was out of it, and then he had to lose weight, gain weight, all this back and forth. I mean, is he going to be able to hang around with the guys who fly around a lot?
I mean, I would say that's his problem. I'm not really sure.
There you go.
If you remember in December, he was the first one to sign up. He came out and interrupted me as I announced that there was going to be a tournament. So,
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that put him in it. Obviously, he did get derailed from being in the tournament because that's a big opportunity presented itself with a Brian Pillman match.
Mm-hmm.
So if he could have that Brian Pillman match and then jump back in the tournament later, then he gets the best of both worlds there. So my question with him is making the weight and getting down. I mean, he's going to have to sit in the sauna, or I don't know exactly what he's going to have to do there.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully
he makes. Sure. That would be unfortunate if there's a weigh-in. You guys should, if there's a weigh-in and he misses the cut, that'll be derailed. That'll just throw a wrench in the whole plan there.
Right. If that was to happen, what I would do there is the match would still happen, but whoever made weight would be the one to advance regardless of the outcome.
Well, that makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah. So I know we also have on here Justin Xavier against Jake Shepard.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
I feel that's a conflict of styles there.
It definitely is. Jake Shepard is a bigger guy. Justin Xavier is not a bigger guy. Yeah. To put it mildly, there's a little bit of a weight difference there. But power versus quickness. Which one will get the win? I mean, I don't know. I've seen, in the last show, Amos was able to do something amazing. He was able to pick Jake Shepard up and slam him. I asked Justin on the show here if he would do the same thing, and he said he was not going to make any promises. But I know he's got the speed. It's going to be an interesting match. And that's also another conflict of interest for us now, because although we did interview Russell, we also interviewed Justin. So now I don't even know how we
No.
Right.
And they're both really good guys, too.
Interview Jake next.
I would be more than willing to. I am excited about that match, though. I'm very excited. Now, I don't want to go, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what's the tag team situation and the tag team title situation in Battle on the Border? I don't know if you want to go into it or not, but I figured I would ask.
Okay, yeah. So obviously we know that the champions have been Justin Xavier and Amos for a while. That situation is kind of being addressed right now. Amos isn't with Battle on the Border anymore, so there's a few different ways it could go, and that hasn't really been 100% determined. It's kind of being discussed amongst the board of directors. So, there's a few different ways that could go still.
All right. Well, I am excited to see how that goes. But I am excited for that match, though. I just hope that Jake, if the size does end up being the deciding factor in that match, just do not break Justin Xavier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably got him like 3-to-1 in weight, I would say.
I would say easily, yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, we have a couple more on there, though, and then we have a heavyweight title match. We have Brian Pillman Jr. challenging Madman Fulton,
You know, I mean, Brian Pillman's had the last 2 matches with Carson Drake, and now he has Madman Fulton. Very excited for this matchup when I thought about it. Like when I was at the show last time, I was like, Carson Drake. You know, I would have liked to have seen Carson Drake, you know, get a shot. But ultimately, Brian Coleman is, you know, the better wrestler. No offense to Carson Drake. It's just that every time I've seen him wrestle, he's lost. But I will say that I'm very excited for this match. And now Brian Pillman's going to have to be the one watching out for Barnabas Spector.
Yeah.
But I think Brian can handle that. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows that going in. And, you know, Madman has been the most dominant champion we've ever had. He's been in Battle on the Border since 2019. And he's been the champion for like a year and a half. And he's also undefeated the entire time.
He is a dominant figure. There is no doubt about that.
But Brian Pillman, on the other hand, is kind of like the irresistible force and the immovable object. Pillman has had a ton of momentum himself. He beat Congo Kong in Battle on the Border. He's beat Drake a couple times. He beat Adam Rose, if you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Chase Owens from the Bullet Club. So he's beat a bunch of great guys himself as well.
Yeah, and then here recently, he's been working with Bret Hart. I noticed, I seen a picture on his Twitter that was him with Bret Hart and some of the Hart family. So that's extremely, I mean, that's a lot of skill right there.
Yeah.
He's going to come into this match. He also debuted a submission in the last show too. So that's exciting to see that he's growing that way.
It's a good point. I'm not exactly sure what that move was even called, but I was surprised with that myself. But as you say, it's you want to have as many tools in your tool belt as possible and as many paths to victory as possible. So it's definitely good for him to expand his horizons with that.
Absolutely.
And then the other match on the cards, and the one I know Darren in particular is excited for, because I know he promised me he's going to bring something, but we have Hooks challenging Dirtbag Dan for the Hardcore Championship in a Fans Bring the Weapons match.
Yeah, this one obviously, this is the match I'm
the
looking
most
forward to.
excitement.
I mean, come on. I've never been a part of that. I knew about it, but I haven't heard about it in a long time. And so I don't even know. I mean, what are the rules there for bringing in the Fans Bring the Weapons match?
So how that works is that I have my security staff in place, and then the fans will have to have their weapon at the door, and as long as it's approved, it's going to go into a giant garbage can. It's going to be put in the ring, and whoever gets it, gets it. Obviously, we're not allowing explosives, guns, fire, stuff like that, but, you know, bats, chains, thumbtacks, any of that kind of stuff is fantastic. So I'm hoping people get creative. But like I said, we're really staying away, obviously, from anything that's going to explode or any kind of fire.
Yeah.
So there are nails off the table.
Yeah, there was a 2x4 with nails in it last time we did this, actually.
Yes!
I think actually Hooks might have brought that himself. He didn't even have to rely on the fans for that one.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Damn.
Good, because that's one of my things. I had to make sure it was all right.
Yeah, those guys will be excited about that.
Oh yeah. I do have to ask about this. Now, Hooks was more than willing to come onto the show, and he was thankful. We're thankful enough to you and to Hooks for letting that announcement happen on our show for that matchup. Unfortunately, though, Hooks did challenge Dirtbag Dan to come onto the show, and Dirtbag Dan, not only did he say no, but he also told me in a Facebook comment that he would have to be paid in order to come on. What's his deal? I mean, I know his name is Dirtbag Dan, but I didn't think that was, you know, his whole personality.
Well, he's a despicable individual, so man, I have to get you guys a picture at some point of like the car he driving around. It's probably got, you know, cuss words and vulgar stuff painted all over it, and like hundreds of bumper stickers of all the most ridiculous stuff you can think of.
Holy crap.
He's just controversial in and out of the ring. He's the only guy I've ever seen that intentionally wears the little tidy whities with like a nasty brown streak down the back of him. he likes that. Like, that's the look he likes. That's how he likes to present himself. And you know, the one thing he has in common with Hooks, though, is, I've told people this before, they're the only two people I've ever met that if they had the opportunity to get into a bloody war with someone like theirself and have a street fight, hardcore style, or go hang out with with some beautiful woman for the evening, they would both pick the fight. And that's why I like being a promoter and having them. I can make money off of them, but I've never met anybody else like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very unique outlook.
Now, I mean, I can't. Do you think both of these guys are going to bleed or what? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I would hope so.
I've yet to witness either of them compete in a hardcore match and not draw blood.
yeah, that's pretty.
If they use my weapon, there will be blood. But if they don't, then.
Well, I'm not saying that our weapon or the weapon that I'm bringing is going to have like Hook's name on it, but it might just have Hook's name on it. And I'm not saying I felt a little slighted by his comments about needing to be paid, but I'm rooting for Hook. So I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm rooting for Hooks also.
New champion. Let's get it. We're two new champions. We have our new world champion, Brian Coleman.
Yeah.
New hardcore champion in Hooks.
Perfect.
Sounds like a great night to me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people pushing for that too, man.
Well, it doesn't help that he was a little scared at first.
Yeah, well, yeah, he didn't. Yeah, and that's another thing too. He did not accept directly. So talk us through that, because I remember that he did not accept direct right after. What had to go into that?
He was trying to kind of circumvent the matchup, and I don't know that it's that he was scared. It's that Dirtbag Dan has a little bit of brains to him where he doesn't want to defend the belt. I think he wanted to defend it against somebody else because he thought that was a more likely successful title defense, would be my guess. But basically, I had to tell him, you know, you've missed shows recently, that here's your options. You either do this with Hooks or you forfeit the hardcore championship. So at that point, he decided he's going to do the match, and that's kind of how that came about.
I was say he definitely didn't sound very thrilled when he was accepting it, but
Hey, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You can't just get rid. You know, just can't just give up the title. What is that going to make him look? The last two shows, I think that one for sure, but I think two that I was supposed to go to, he was supposed to be there and didn't make it for whatever the reason may be. But I'm excited that he will be there for this match, and I am 100% certain it's going to be great.
it's going to be a very good match.
That's the one that I think obviously the fans are the most excited about.
I've never been able to be so creative.
So what do you think after that? What would be the next most exciting one for you guys?
Anytime I get to see Carson Drake wrestle, I do like that. So I will say that. But Brian Pillman, I do like to watch him wrestle too. It's cool to see him wrestle out, you know, with Battle on the Border. It's very exciting, and I hope like I said, I hope he wins. And you know, I think that match is probably the one I'm second most excited about. But like I said, also IPA and Carson Drake's up there too.
Yeah, man. So one of the things that I've told you guys before, I try to make every Battle on the Border an all-star show and like stack the card. But I would say this card is stacked even for Battle on the Border.
I really do like the sound of it. You got the zero gravity tournament. You have I heard there was some technical wrestling in there. You obviously have the hardcore championship aspect. So there's a lot to give. Everyone should leave that show happy. And I've never left a Battle on the Border show unhappy. So I'm expecting the same outcome this time.
I'm expecting that same outcome as well.
So did I say that I never left it happy?
You never. I think
You've never done happy, right?
Okay, I hope I did. I just realized I was playing it back in my head. I'm like, did I say I never left happy? I meant I never left unhappy. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
But yeah, I'm very excited for it. It's very close. Is there anything that we can expect here in the immediate future for match? Is there anything that's going to be added, or is this it?
Well, I would say stay tuned. There might be a little bit of a bonus for people to get there early.
Let's go. We will be there as early as possible. What time do you want us there?
Well, if the bonus did happen, it'd probably happen between 5:30 and 6, I'm thinking.
So we will be there at
in the parking lot for
noon.
There you go. Yeah.
No, we will definitely be there. And you know, so again, is there anything else that you wanted to mention while we're here?
I mean, that's pretty much it. You can follow me on Facebook or on Battle on the Border Pro Wrestling on Facebook, and you can get the tickets on Ticket Leap there. If you guys could share that thing for me, the link to buy those, or that'd be great. And I'm expecting a good turnout. It'd be great for Battle on the Border. It's going to be great for the Morrisville Fire Department. And I think it's going to be even better for the fans than anybody else.
Right. I think a nice family fun day watching people bleed in the. Is that the main event? The hardcore title match.
Well, I haven't totally figured that out yet, but I can say that it's likely to be the main event of either the first half or the second half of the show because the cleanup scenario afterwards. So it's going to be either probably the end of the first half or the end of the show.
All right. Well, I am very excited about the show. July 23rd, Moores Hill, Indiana. Moores Hill Mayhem. We will be there, and make sure to stop by and say hi.
All right, man. Thank you guys for doing that, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking this time. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.